In the United States, there is a restructuring epidemic going on right now. What do I mean by that? Well, I saw a headline that should have been like really, really big, but I haven't seen it till now. And that is that the US Army is cutting about 24,000 jobs. And then you're like, what are you talking about? The US Army is always hiring. Well, yeah, but they are having issues with um with the ongoing wars, right? They're like, hey, we're not prepared for these upcoming wars that are going on and all that. So we need to restructure and move stuff around and focus our priorities somewhere else. So now I was looking at it like, okay, if the military is laying off people, who else is going to be next? So then I was like, if the military lets people go, right? Because if you work for the federal government, the military, you almost have like one of these safe jobs that you never have to worry about, right? So wrong. If you're a teacher, also, you're also not going to be spared from cut. Why? Because federal funding is running out, just like that. So now you're looking at it like, okay, teachers, military, and all these, and if you're in tech, Meta did restructuring and restructured like and cut its workforce by 20%. So some of my questions now come that I'm asking myself is, okay, they did all these cuts. What were these people doing? Like, what were, like at Meta, these 22 people, these 22% or 20% that Mark Zuckerberg cut, what did these people do? What are they doing on a daily, day to day business? Did they just show up and drink coffee or did they not? So I have no idea what these people were doing at the job. And so even in the military now, if you're going to cut morning, if they're going to cut 24,000 people, what are they going to do? Are they going to be contractors afterwards? So I feel like the cutting just doesn't stop. There's not where it's like, okay, there's enough fat trimmed, we're good now. It's like, nope, this person does it, then this person does it, then that person, and so on. So it's like a never ending cycle. And I am not seeing that there's that many new hiring. So if Meta cut 22% of their workforce, right? Where are these people going? They can't go to Google because Google cut too. So did Microsoft. Microsoft just announced another round of layoffs like today on 4th of July or like yesterday. So I was like, wow, it's just non-stop. And now we're seeing that prices are finally coming down. So is that what it took? Is it that we've had to lay off tens of thousands of people in the United States to get inflation under control? Is that what it comes down to? Let me know in the comments below. Because I feel like all these cuts had one thing into common: stop spending money, right? So there's less money in circulation. You got to pull back you got to pull back your spending because you don't have a job. And now they're going to wait it out and then they're going to lower interest rate so you can get a job again. So it is just a crazy time to be alive and be in the workforce, because I think this is just as crazy as 2008. In 2008, people had jobs but didn't want to spend the money. Now people don't have a job but still want to spend the money. So it is fairly interesting to see these projections. And now when I'm looking and I'm reading these things, reading these articles, and I'm talking to you guys in the comment section, then it's like, oh, I work as for the teachers, we're union, I'm good. Well, if funding runs out, I don't know what your union's gonna do, but if they're gonna let people go because the federal government, because of COVID, they gave they gave like teachers more money and they gave schools funding. So now that if they're not gonna renew that, where's your salary gonna come from? What are you gonna do? And this is a question for you teachers who watch my stuff. So where's that gonna come from? Because if they're gonna pull back the funding and they're not gonna renew, most likely they will. But if they don't, are you job searching? Are you networking? Are you trying to find a new job? Because what else are you going to do? Are you going to move and relocate? Because when they don't renew these funding stuff and you're out, I don't think when funding runs out they're going to give you a severance package like they do in tech. I think that's kind of like a unique, these severance packages are kind of like a unique thing to tech. And I don't think that if you work for the government, they're going to say, hey, or, you're working for a teacher, that they're going to be like, hey, just, we'll pay you 3 months salary. So just leave and find another job. They might give you something, but I don't know what they would give you. So it's fairly crazy when you think that nothing is safe besides the DMV. Probably that is probably the safest spot, because who wants to do that, right? And now we're looking at military, we're looking at school teachers, we're looking at all these entities that are changing how they do things. And now I'm wondering, who's hiring all these people again? Who's hiring all of these people? And if you guys know, let me know in the comments, because I'm reading some of you guys have been texting me and saying, you know, my pharmaceutical company is hiring 30 positions. And I was like, well, if you're in a remote location in like Nebraska, yeah, you might have 30 spots open and you're good, but that isn't as a whole of the United States, right? So when you're talking about your instances, that's why I always ask these people, where are you from? What city you located? What's your job field? Because some people say, not in my field, not in my field. My field's great. So then I always ask, what kind of field? Oh, I'm a pharmaceutical, or I'm a biopharmacist, something like it. I was like, that is hyper specialized. That is hyper specialized. And probably somebody with your skill set is like one in a few. So if they have a job that's looking for like a biochemist with 4 years of experience at a nuclear plant and 4 years living in North Korea, yeah, you're the only one that can come into play. So you have an easy way of going, because you're like, hey, that fits my job description. That's me, and nobody else can do it because you're so hyper specialized, right? But if there's a bunch of people that did the exact same thing, that have 4 years of that and 4 years of the other thing, you're going to be screwed, because there's so many applicants and you're not going to get the job. But the more hyper specialized you are, the easier it seems for you to get a job, right? And I've seen that with tech, with a few people that wrote me that said, I'm in tech and I'm having the hardest time because they're not hyper specialized, right? So if you have these skill sets, then you're good. But that is not the average. So when I talk about the average in most Americans, I'm not talking about these hyper specialized people that, have a PhD in super chemistry and lived abroad and did all these kind of crazy things, but then and then moved on and are hyper specialized, right? So the most average American has not that much to stand out like you guys do, that some of them wrote me in. Some of you guys wrote me in and told me that they have 3 job offers all across the United States with 3 different pharmaceutical companies. And I was like, yeah, that's great, but you are the exception, not the rule, right? So when I'm looking at it, and it's like, yeah, your industry might be hiring like crazy, but everything else is just letting go. Everything is AI replacement now, and one of the big um, revelations I had was that when this guy on YouTube, I saw that AI isn't the product, it's a feature, right? So AI isn't gonna necessarily come to do your exact job, but it's gonna make you more efficient, and it's gonna take 1 or 2 of your peers' job, because you can be so much more efficient, right? Because you can be reading emails, it can summarize emails, it can write stuff, it can be so much more streamlined and processed, so it can do it quicker and better than than you can, because it can do that while you're not even working, right? So it's a fairly interesting time we're living in, and I'm willing to see how this is going to look like in 6 months from now, because grocery stores are lowering prices, more layoffs, more layoffs, and restructuring. So where is this going to go? And I think that at one point they trimmed the fat so much that there's going to be competitor companies that will give these other bigger companies a run for their money, because you can start competing with these other companies with a small amount of people actually, and that's going to be pretty dang interesting. But what were all these people doing at Meta that got cut? Because when you're looking at, they're cutting 22% of the workforce, and Spotify cut so many, they're still running. And like Elon Musk cut so many people at Twitter. What were all these Twitter employees doing? I constantly wonder, Twitter's still up and running. And Elon Musk, I don't know how many. If I find an article, I'll put it up here. But I've not looked at the numbers. But how is that company still running? And I saw a video, and I don't know if this is true or not. The internet takes anything. But he was talking about a name, like a server that they wanted to, that was in Sacramento, that they said, oh, it's expensive to run that server in Sacramento, and you can probably find it online somewhere. And it was Christmas, and Elon Musk was leaving like San Jose, and he was like, that server needs to go offline. And people told him, no, to transfer the data and to do all that, it's gonna take weeks, months. And he said, no, get it done by Christmas. I give you 6 weeks. They said, oh, we can't do that. It's too much data, too much stuff. So on Christmas, he said, is that server still running? He said, yes. So he went over there and he actually cut the lines. He actually cut the coax cable or whatever it was, or internet cable to it, and said, we're done, and flew back out. So he flew from San Jose to Sacramento, and then, cut the cable, and Twitter's still running. So what were all these people doing? Were they all making day in a life videos on TikTok and YouTube and saying, this is what it's like working for Twitter. I go in, I go get a free coffee, I answer 3 emails, and then I go to lunch. And after lunch, I go write another 3 emails, and then I go take a nap. And then at 5 o'clock, I leave. I come back at 6 to eat dinner, and then I head out to party. Is that what these people were doing? And if you have an idea, let me know, because I'm genuinely curious what these people were doing. And yeah, so I don't know. I am not sure, because for me, when I hire people for my business, they need to provide me a 2x return on the hiring, right? So if I hire somebody for $10,000 a year, part-time, whatever, or $100,000 a year, they need to make me double, because that's how it kind of goes. They need to make me money in order for me to keep them on, right? So if I spend $10,000 a month, a year, a day, they need to make me double what they're getting paid, or else it wasn't a good investment, right? So what were all these people doing? Were they just hanging around, drinking coffee? I have no idea. So this is my last video in the United States, in Las Vegas. It's like right now, it's like 80, 90. I'm gonna give some shout out to some of my people that always comment on my videos. If you want to be that, make sure you comment on each video, so I know. So I got some shout outs coming up right here on the screen. I appreciate you guys. You guys are amazing. Let me know if there's any other topics you want me to discover or talk about. You can also write me an email with articles, or if you have concerns, it's in the bio of my YouTube channel. And I'm on Spotify now, so if you want to check out Spotify, I do my videos. I also upload them on Spotify. I'm a little bit back, but you can watch my videos now as a podcast. If you haven't followed me on LinkedIn, go follow that. Let's connect. Let's chat about it. I'm starting to post twice a week there. It's going to get better. I'm working on getting that up and going. And yeah, this has been a fun ride with you guys, talking to you every day. I love it. I love the engagement. I love talking to you guys. You guys have such amazing opinions. Yeah, it's been a huge blessing just talking to you guys, seeing where you're from, what industry you're in, seeing the struggles, seeing the joy, and helping you guys out. So yeah, let me know, because this is it. Heading to the airport today, flying to Switzerland, and gonna hang out with my family. Gotta take care of my grandpa. I'll make sure that I get him on a video. So yeah, this is phenomenal. And I'll see you in the next one.